My name is Shamarr Allen, trumpeter and vocalist for Shamarr Allen and the Underdogs, musician, I guess. Been playing around here for a while, played with a bunch of people, played for the president a couple of times, toured Willie Nelson, was appointed cultural ambassador by the U.S. State Department, New Orleans, you know. Finished up playing at DBA and packed up and bringing a friend home from the gig. And when I dropped him off, I just dropped him off at home. You know, normal night. Holler at you next week. And as I turned the corner to leave, instead of making a U-turn on the street in the middle of the street, I just drove to the corner, turned the corner, backed up, and turned back around. But when I got to the corner, I saw the police had the street like blocked off. It wasn't like a roadblock. It was like cars scattered everywhere like they were doing something else. So I was like, in my past history and seeing this over and over, if I go down there, they're gonna give me a problem. You know, if I drive down the street, they're like, you see we got the street blocked off, why you came this way, go back the other way. So I decided to just, what I was gonna do anyway, turn up the street, back up, and then go back down the street I came, go home. So I turned, backed up, and then I went back down the street. Before I got to the corner, I was like halfway down the block, and they pulled me over. 3 cars came from the back, and the other 3 came like around to the front of the car, like maybe a few seconds later from when the other cars pulled me over. The officer came in the car, get out the car, open the door, turn the car off. I'm scrambling, I turned the car off, open the door. When I opened the door, put your hands up. So I'm like, I put my hands up. He opened the door. He grabbed my hand, bent my arm to the back glass, like to the back glass. So I got one hand up. My other hand is to the back glass of the car. And another officer comes. I can't see your other hand. If you move, I'm gonna blow your fucking head off. I'm like, oh my goodness. It's 2:30 in the morning, I'm by myself, nobody outside. I watched one of my friends' mother get killed by the police. And then I've had a fellow band member, Joseph Williams, who was killed by a police officer. So in my mind, I'm like, man, this could be high end for me right here, right now, you know? So as he has my arm, the other officer's like, has a gun to my face. Like, don't you move, don't you move. I'm like, man, I'm not moving. He got my arm, I can't do nothing. So the officer that has my arm pulls me out the car, right, and slams me on the back door. So now I'm leaning up against the car. I'm like, all right, they about to put handcuffs on me. They didn't put handcuffs on me. They turned me again, put his leg in front of both of my legs, and then slammed me to the ground. As he slammed me to the ground, I scraped up my shoulder, scraped my elbow, scraped my knee, and they all got on top of me. So I'm like, man, I can't breathe. He's like, you can breathe, motherfucker, stop playing, you can breathe. I'm like, man, I can't, I literally can't breathe. All of y'all are on me. One of them has his boot on my face, like standing on my face where I can't move, I can't do anything. So they're like, what you doing now? I'm like, I'm dropping off a friend, I just came from playing. Playing what? You don't do nothing. What you doing out here? I'm like, man, I came from a show. I'm a musician. You're not a musician. What you doing out here? You know who we looking for. You going to jail for harboring. I'm like, harboring what? Harboring who? You know who. I'm like, man, whoever y'all looking for, I'm not him. Yeah, you not him, but you know who we talking about. So at this point, I'm like, I can't win. So they was like, who is the friend? I'm like, man, at this point, it doesn't even matter. Y'all not believing what I'm saying. And it's like all of them asking me questions at the same time. So I'm trying to answer everybody. So they lift me up and then stood me in front of the state police SUV. There was like a couple of cars and then like 2 or 3 SUVs. So they stand me in front of the SUV and there's the guardrail around the front of the car. So there's a short officer and then the tall officer, who I keyed on because he was giving me the most trouble. So I was like, I gotta remember. I can't remember everybody. So as long as I remember his name or his badge number and his face, that's a start to get to everybody else. And that's what I did. So there's one short cop who's like talking crazy and you shouldn't be down here. What you doing down here? I'm like, man, I told you I was dropping somebody. Who you dropped off? At this point, I'm like, man, it doesn't even make sense to tell what, who, well, when, why, because they're going to do what they want to do anyway. So I just took a deep breath. I was like, oh my God. Like, it was like, don't call on guard now. It's going to be a problem. So the officer grabs me, the short officer who was standing on this side of me, grabs me and pushes me onto the hood of the car by my chest. My feet lift up off the ground. I'm still in handcuffs. My feet lift up off the ground and kick the other officer. Now, it's not intentional. He pushed me. I don't have hands to catch my balance. My feet lift up. My back is on the cuff. This officer said, you just kicked me. You're going to jail for assault and battery on the officer. So at this point, I'm like, man, I might as well just sit here, don't say nothing. I'm going to jail. Just deal with it and go home. So they asked me all kind of questions. Well, it kept asking the same question: where I'm going, what I'm doing out here. So as they asked me that, the other officers start searching my car, like going in the car, searching the car, open the trunk, search my trumpet. I'm like, man, I'm a musician. It's like, you're not a musician. Okay. I said, man, I'm a musician. Like, right now, I'm a cultural ambassador. You're not no cultural ambassador. What? You? Like, what department is that? I'm like, the U.S. State Department. Yeah, whatever. You not. No. I said, go Google it. Like, go Google it. It's public information. Go Google it. If you Google it, you can see that. So, that the one particular officer went to the car. It wasn't the one that was giving me trouble. It wasn't this one. It was another one. Went to the car while they were searching my car and got my cell phones out and said, open your cell phones up. I'm like, open my cell phone? It was like, open your cell phones. I had codes on my cell phone. So I told him the code to one of the cell phones. I'm like, man, I'm gonna just make this as easy as possible. I'm not trying to get beat up. I'm not trying to get killed. I'm not trying to go to jail. None of that. I'm gonna make this as easy as possible where I can just go home. So I told him the code for the cell phone. Now, Android phones are different from an iPhone. So the iPhone code was easy. It was just numbers. The Android code is, you gotta swipe the code. So I was trying to explain to him, I can't explain to you how to swipe the code without actually showing you myself. But we're not taking the handcuffs off. You're gonna have to just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, tell me the numbers, and then I'll swipe it myself. So I tried to start explaining the code and numbers, and he just was tapping the buttons. It don't open like that. You gotta swipe it. It's like a pattern. So he gave me the phone. He was like, you open it. So I got the handcuffs on. I'm trying to look behind my back and open the phone at the same time. Like, so I swipe, open the phone. He gave him the phone. One went to the back of my phone. He went to the side with another cop and was looking through the phone. He was laughing. I know why they was laughing. I had some pictures in there, you know. But you know, and I'm like, man, y'all really going through my phone? If you're looking for something, a phone number that I called or a text message, do that. Don't search my phone, you know. So after they searched my phones, they put the phones back in the car. They ran my name, and the guy, the short guy, I was sitting, I'm not standing up. When all of this is going on, I'm sitting on the ground. They made me sit down on the ground. So as I unlocked the phone and all that stuff, I was actually sitting on the ground. So the short guy who was over here, who pushed me on the truck, he kept slamming the heel of my foot. Like, he kept slamming it, like, just kept slamming it. I'm trying to figure out what he's doing because he's not telling me. He just kept slamming it and slamming it and slamming it, and then he just took my leg and put it over the other one. So instead of telling me to cross my legs, he just kept slamming my foot on the ground, which I don't even understand the method. And he could have just said, cross your legs while you're sitting on the ground, you know, for whatever the reason is. So after all of that happened, the officers stood me up, turned me around, took the handcuffs off. And this is after they searched me, grabbed my wallet, grabbed my ID, went in a truck, ran my name, came back. So I haven't been to jail for anything but traffic tickets. You know what I'm saying? And that was like as a kid. stood me up, turned me around, took the handcuffs off, he gave me my ID back. He said, I Googled your name, I didn't see nothing. I didn't see nothing about no culture ambassador. I said, you didn't look. And he was like, here go your ID. Get from down here. If I see you down here again, you're going to jail. If I see that car, I'm taking it. Go home, don't ever come back down here. I grew up down there. I teach a class down there. And that neighborhood, like, you got to understand something. I grew up in a neighborhood to where Wynton Marsalis is not coming hang on the corner with you. Michael Jordan is not coming hang on the corner with you. Bill Cosby, Denzel, none of these people are coming to that neighborhood. So the role models that you have are drug dealers, right? That's me growing up. I grew up in that neighborhood. So now I'm sort of successful. I go back. I'm never leaving. My parents still live down there. Instead of them having those guys as a role model, they see that, but they also see me, who has the nice car, who's popular, who has money, who could go take trips, who could buy what he wants, who's successful, a legal way, a positive way. And then I still teach kids music down there every Tuesday at my mom's house, in the ninth ward, in the same area where the police harass me. Every Tuesday, 5:30 to 7:30, for free. They don't have to have an instrument, they don't have to know how to play, nothing. I do that because I was one of those kids from down there that didn't have those opportunities. I'm all right, you know? So for them to tell me to leave, don't ever come back, I can't do that. I can't do that. That's just not who I am. And he was like, don't ever come back. But I just kept, when he gave me my ID and told me to just go, he was still yapping off and yapping off. I just walked to the car, didn't look back. I got my car, closed the door, and drove off. Yeah, and them slamming me, it scraped up my shoulder, it scraped up my elbow, it scraped up my knee. It's kind of healing now because it's been a week. But it was just, and the next day I took my kids to the beach, so I'm in salt water trying to, it was just crazy, man. It was all right. I mean, this is the average life, the average life of a black guy in New Orleans. It happens all the time. It happened to me a bunch. It's just now I actually have a voice to where people pay attention to what I'm saying. And this goes on every day. And I'm walking down the street just not coming here. And the guy in the parking lot was like, thank you, man. I've been through that same thing. Right here in the parking lot. Whoever worked in a booth in that parking lot right there was like, I've been through the same thing. I saw you on the news yesterday. Thank you. So now I actually have a voice to put this in the public's eye that this stuff still goes on. Nobody believes that this stuff goes on. This stuff goes on every day. Somebody is getting put in the car, is being harassed by the police for nothing. Somebody's getting off the bus from school, going to college, is getting off the bus, going to school, and get stopped by the police. Some guy's riding home on a bicycle, is getting stopped by the police. Some guy's walking home from his girlfriend's house, is getting stopped by the police. And he's not doing nothing. And that leaves a salty taste in your mouth. Even as a kid, you are kind of programmed to just not ever have to deal with the police. Like, you programmed for that. It's like, when they come, only time you see them is when they beating somebody up in your neighborhood. They hacking them up, they searching them, they got them all laying on the ground, they searching their pockets, they checking them, they talking crazy to them. So as a kid, this is all you see about the police. This is the only thing that you see. And in that situation, as a kid, you programmed that the police are never on your side. And that's just life. That's why when crimes happen and the police come, nobody talks about them. Because it's already put in your head that he is not my friend. There's been situations to where, as kids, I've seen this. Police will come to you and say, who's selling drugs? You would tell them, that guy's selling drugs. And then he'll tell the drug dealer, he told me he was doing it. You know what I'm saying? So how can you trust people that put you in those type of situations? You are never safe, ever. No matter how you look at it, you aren't safe. So, as growing up in the black community, you stay away from the police under all circumstances. If you get in a fight in the French quarters or wherever, somebody calling the police, they come in, it's done. If you get in a fight in the hood, nobody calling the police because nobody want to deal with them. If you call the police and you don't even have nothing to do with it, you might go to jail. You know, it's just that type of situation with the police. So I just want to be the voice for the people that don't have a voice, to speak up about it. Everybody don't have the voice to speak up about it. Everybody's record is not as squeaky clean as mine, so they might not be believable. And some people don't believe me, and I understand that. Some people just believe everything that the authorities say, and they're human. They make, they lie, they make mistakes and all of that. And anybody that knows me know when I'm wrong, I admit that I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I teach my kids is never to lie. That's the worst thing you could do. I don't care what you did wrong, just tell me the truth. My daddy raised me like that. If it's wrong, you gotta admit to it. It's gonna come out anyway. So just tell the truth about it. I was raised like that. That's how I grew up. That's how I raised my children. And that's how I live. So I just put it all out there. I have to be the voice for this that goes on over and over and over and over in the black communities that nobody talks about. This happens so much. This time I was alone, that time I was alone. I'm driving down Florida Avenue, police get behind me, turn on the lights. Pull me over. I pull over, I'm in I don't remember what kind of car, it was young. Pull me over, pulls me out the car, search my pocket, goes in my, and they turn the lights off on their car after they put the handcuffs on me and all that. Turn the lights off on their car, pull me out the car, take $600 out of my pocket, take the handcuffs off and told me to go about my business. Now I'm young, I don't know how to deal with that at that point. I gotta take that and go home and just be like, man, the police took my money. What am I supposed to do about that? Another situation, I'm bringing my son to school in the morning, It's a car I've been having for like 4 or 5 years, red Monte Carlo. Police pull me over, bringing him to school in the morning. I'm like, man, I don't even know why they pulling me over. It's 7:30 in the morning. Pull me over, put handcuffs on me, put me in the back of the police car. Tells me my car's stolen. I'm like, man, I've been having this car for 5 years. How is this car stolen? How can you tell my car is stolen and just pulling me over? My son is in the car. I said, listen, my son in the car, please straighten it out before you put me in the back of a police car. He didn't do it. He put me in the back of the police car, looked at my license plate, looked at what he typed in the computer, realized it was wrong, and then let me out the police car. By that time, my son bawling, he crying. Like, he literally crying. I said, Jay, it's all right. What's wrong, Jay? Like, relax. I thought they was gonna take you away from me. Like, listen, that shit hurt. That shit hurt. Like, I teared up when that happened. That hurt here. You know what I'm saying? And my son is getting to the point, to the age of where he understands what's going on. My son just got accepted in the NOCA. My son has a 3.5 grade point average. He's a black kid, he's 14. He looks like me. He dresses like me, walks like me. His hair is like mine. He's just exactly who I am. He's a kid version of me. I don't want him to have to go through the same things that I go through. Because I don't think he is built the way that I'm built as far as having to deal with police, because he didn't have to deal with that his whole life. He saw it through me. Like, he got stopped with me a bunch of times with my son. Me and my son got stopped a bunch of times. And I just don't want him to have to go through that or see that or feel that, because it's not a good feeling. This is really my life, man. This is the things that I go through at least a couple times a year. Just getting stopped by the police over and over and over and over. It's like my skin color tells them that I can't have nice things. I can't have a Cadillac. I can't have an Infiniti. That's how I roll around. I worked hard to be able to provide for my family to have those things. I don't know. It's just tough, man. It's tough. This has been going on from the beginning of time, and the only thing that you could actually do is protect yourself by maybe arming your own car with a camera. You know, like I don't see it changing no time soon. You know, I talked to my dad. My dad was like, I went through the same thing growing up. Like, it's just life. That's something that you as a black man have to deal with. And I'm not trying to pull a race card. I don't want no pity party, none of that. I'm numb to this stuff. Like, I've been through it so much that it's just second nature. When I posted up on Twitter that, man, getting stopped by state troopers at 2:30 in the morning is the scariest thing I've ever been through in my life. My Twitter feed and my Facebook feed lit up. Everybody was in support. Everybody started calling the police department themselves. I didn't call anybody because it was over for me. You know, I just let the stuff go. And the Integrity Bureau here called me. So I was like, all right, if they're going to call, I might as well do it. And then the news called, and then this station called. And so at that point, I'm like, okay, I might as well just run with it and be the voice for a cause that there has not been an actual voice for a cause like this. Nobody ever talks about this. It's like the unwritten thing that actually goes on that no one wants to talk about, you know? Because if somebody decides to talk about it, their track record is not clean. You know, they went to jail for drugs, or they can't say that about me. I haven't gone to jail for drugs. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do none of that. So how can you use me and make me look bad? You can't do it. My record is squeaky clean.